I spent the last 365 days testing every outreach method. I sent over 162,000 messages, tracked everything, and analyzed all of the data. Most strategies failed, but one worked insanely well. What came out of this was a system that consistently books at least one qualified call per day, and it helped me to scale to over $80,000 a month. In this video, I'll break down the exact steps behind that system. First, how we source hundreds of qualified leads per day, then how we structure looms that actually get watched and replied to, then the exact outreach copies and follow-up sequences that actually convert, and the tracking sheets we use to automate everything at the end as well. You can copy this into pretty much any niche that you can think of, but skip this and you'll spend the next couple of months testing stuff that we've already proven not to work. So let's get into it. Now, just for quick context, this system has helped our clients book 5,940 calls this year from outbound alone. That's roughly 12 to 30 calls per month per client on average. Meanwhile, most of you guys send 300 DMs, book one call, close nothing, and conclude outreach must be dead. Well, I can tell you it's not. You're just using 2023 tactics in 2026. The problem is pattern recognition because there's so many people doing outreach. And your prospect sees your message and instantly knows this is just another one of those. This is a pitch. It's the same structure, the same tone, same energy, just like the other 50 messages they got this week or even just today. But here is what 1 week of outreach looks like when it's done right. Multiple calls every single day and a packed out calendar. So let me show you exactly how we do this. We have quite a lot to go through, but by step 4, you'll literally be booking one call every single day. I'll prove it to you. So let's dive into step 1. Most people think that outreach fails because of bad copy, and that's wrong. Outreach fails because they're talking to the wrong people, because you can have perfect copy and still get 0 replies if your lead quality is trash. So before we talk about the outreach copy, sort of follow-ups, I'll break down our unique lead generation system that breaks down into pretty much 3 parts. First, where we actually source the leads from. Then second, how we filter them to make sure that we only reaching out to qualified people. And third, how we automatically track all of the data on each lead. So phase 1 is simple. First, you have to find out where your niche is the most present. Which of these platforms? Local business, for example, are mainly on Google. Coaches are on Instagram. Professional services are on LinkedIn. Software and crypto is on X. And obviously, creators are on YouTube. And once you know the platform, we need to scrape it. These are the best tools here for each platform. And you can use any of them, but the tool you choose is not as important as the process. So here's exactly how that looks like in practice. I'm giving you an example with Instagram. So scraping on Instagram is pretty simple. First, we find an account that our ideal clients would already follow. So let's say for our specific example that our prospects are online fitness coaches. In that case, you want to find accounts like this. For example, Brian Mark, a business coach for online trainers. So I'm on this account now. And once we're on this account, we need to activate this extension called GrowMan. It's free and I'll leave the link in the description. So once you're on the account, you click on this extension and extract the following of this account. You just click on go. And it starts. I already had this running for about 10 minutes and you can see it already scraped 125 leads. So once it's at the stage, all you got to do is just export the whole list right here and it's downloading. Now what we have is a raw list of potential leads, and what we have to do with it is we have to put it into this raw leads folder right here in this Google Drive. By the way, I'll share this whole Google Drive with these sheets with you at the end. And don't worry about memorizing all of this right now. I'll share a full step-by-step setup guide later with you. Now, this is how it works on Instagram, but the main point is to just find a lead source, okay? So find where your leads are and actually find a way to scrape it. Again, these are all the tools that you can use. Now, phase 2 is when most people mess up because scraping is pretty easy. Like getting a long list of leads is easy, but a lot of these people are not qualified. So filtering is what actually makes this work. Back on our Google Drive workspace that I will share with you, we have this Google sheet right here, the lead collector. When you open it, it will first be empty. But at the bottom, you will see the settings sheet right here. And in this sheet, we can set a couple of filters. So first, we can set keywords as filters. And these will have to be in our lead's bio or name or somewhere on their profile, right? And because we're targeting fitness coaches for this example, I'm going to use words like DM, scale, fitness, coach, online scale, biz coaching, whatever, like these words that they usually have in their bio, like DM me health or whatever their CTA would be in the bio, right? And I'm also going to filter for their followers. So I want to make sure we don't get anybody in that has less than 200 followers, probably going to qualify lead, maybe a spam account. And I also don't want to get anybody above 150,000 followers because they're probably going to be too big to work with. And once we set these settings, all we're going to do is go up top, click on run function, and then click on process Excel files. So the file of leads that we just put into the raw leads folder. Click on it and it starts processing all of these leads. It's going to the full list and it's checking out which of these keywords are matching and which of these followers and which of these leads actually are in the right follower range. You can see it's populating all by itself. Now it just finished and you can see out of those 125 leads, we got about 62 that are actually matching our keywords. And we also have a bunch of their emails right here already. Now, all you got to do once you're at this point is go through these leads manually and make sure they're actually qualified. So you click on their profile, you check out if they're looking good. And when you think they're qualified, you just set this qualification status on yes or no. But as you can see, a lot of these are fitness coaches. And once you're done with this, you got to go at the run function one more time and then click on sync leads to loom tracking. And when we go into sheet number 2, you'll see that these leads are all popping in here now one by one with their names, their email address, and their phone numbers. And now the leads are in their destination for the system to work. Because this right here is our data tracking hub. We literally track everything in here, from loom send to view to reply to book to close to cash collected. This sheet is why we improve every month while everyone else just keeps on guessing. I'm going to share how all of this works in detail in step 4 though. Now at this point, our leads are ready. I know this is just an example with Instagram, but it works the exact same way with all of the other platforms. And by the end of this video, I will do you a huge favor and show you exactly how you can copy all of these sheets with a guide video walking through exactly how to set it up. And this whole process obviously is pretty simple, so you can outsource all of this to your VA with these trainings here as well. Now step 2 is where most people mess up, because now you finally got good leads, and then you send them the same boring messages everyone else sent. Okay, most outreach fails because it looks like this, bro. Look at these messages. They all look the same. None of them stand out, even if their profiles are somewhat optimized. And that's exactly why we completely stopped sending messages and started sending looms. And not normal ones. I'm talking about pattern-breaking looms. Once I get responses like these from anybody, look, you can see this is a creator with 1.7 million subscribers, and he came back to me asking for shorts on TikTok to be managed. This guy has 500,000 subscribers. You can see how he responded to me, also wanting to work together. Same with this guy, 800,000 subscribers, asking for our rates after we sent this video. 2 million subscribers here asking when we are free, being super excited. 1.8 million followers saying that'd be great. Can you send me some days or times that work for you? Asking when we have time for a call already. And this guy here, 800,000 subscribers, asking for a short notice call today. Look, this is literally the hardest niche to do outreach in. Like creators with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of subscribers, they get the most amount of people reaching out to them for any type of services. And yet, they still responded to me. So we can make it work in this niche. You can literally apply this to any other one. And no, these aren't warm leads. These are no referrals. These are totally cold. I messaged them for the first time and got these responses. Because the thing is, people don't ignore outreach because they hate offers or their business is running perfectly and they never need any type of help again. They ignore it because their brain recognizes the pattern instantly. And most people just don't put any effort into their outreach. So the second they open a DM, it feels like outreach. They go, they're like, oh, this is a low effort thing again, and there's probably no value in this. And a loom, that breaks the pattern, but only if you do them right. So let me break down exactly how these work and how you can copy our process to create them yourself. And after hundreds of tests, every loom that worked had the same 4 parts. First, it has to have a very captivating hook. And I have a very, very interesting technique here that I use. I will showcase exactly what I would say first, and then I'll explain why I do it. But you'll see the effect of it. Imagine the lead that we're reaching out to is this fitness coach called Liam. So the way I would open up the hook is like this. All right, Liam, I'm just going to show you something quickly. I pulled up your Instagram earlier because I was curious how you position yourself. And as I was scrolling, I caught myself thinking, okay, this part is good, but this part might be confusing if I was a new visitor. So I figured I'd take the time and record it and show it to you. Then after 60 seconds, you can decide if this is relevant or not. See, I work with some similar people to you, such as X, Y, and Z. And when I helped them scale to $200,000 a month, they all had one thing in common: traffic. Insane amounts of traffic. So really the question is, how do we start getting way more of that without having to spend $50,000 a month on ads or hoping that organic suddenly starts performing? And Liam, that's a question I want to answer for you here. And if you don't see the value in that, then just let me know and I'll buy you coffee for wasting your time. Look, if you were a lead and somebody reaches out to you like that and you are actually a fitness coach and this is relevant to you and you hear all of these things, there's a very, very, very high chance that you will be listening to the rest of this, being kind of confused and kind of intrigued. Because my main goal with the hook is to not have somebody's guard go up. And what I personally found works best for that is kind of this like unintentional, rambling, kind of almost all over the place kind of tone that still sounds familiar, like I'm supposed to make this video for this person. And then they're just like slightly confused, but then somehow intrigued. And then they're like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, was he supposed to make a video for me? Not really, but here we are, and here he is watching this whole thing. I'm just going to show you something quickly. You're supposed to be showing up something. So what happens is we win the first couple of seconds because of this line, because we're not saying something generic. And then the second thing you notice is we never mention the words reach out. I thought I'd reach out to you. Because when you say those words, people categorize you as outreach. We said So I figured I'd take the time, record this, and show it to you. Okay, so you see, you take the time, position yourself a little higher so they respect your time. They see that this is time investment from your side. Then right after that, we say, after 60 seconds, you can decide if this is relevant or not. So basically, every line buys time, and then that line buys us a whole 60 seconds all the way up into the value part because we asked them to give this to us. So as soon as they watch past that, we have some time. And then we also, in a very subtle way, build authority because we say, and I've worked with some similar people, and when I helped them scale to $200,000 a month, there was one thing they had in common. Now, obviously, if you don't have any client results, you might want to leave this out, but I hope you do have some kind of case study that you can bring in a subtle way like this, where it's not highlighting just the result, but also creating curiosity through it. And then at the end, we pose a very relevant question. How do we get so much traffic that we don't know what to do with it? Everybody wants that. No matter what business owner, no matter who he is, every person wants so much traffic that their biggest problem is, how the fuck do we handle all of these clients? And then the very last line is, that's the question I want to answer for you. And if you don't see the value, let me know, send me your PayPal, and I'll buy you coffee wasting your time. And that is the next section already. It's the challenge. Okay, it's the fact that we're challenging them to watch the rest because now they're more invested. They're like, okay, so this guy seems very, not only is he kind of interesting, but he also seems very confident. So there must be something to what he's saying. And they're also not paying closer attention because if it is bad, they're technically supposed to get a coffee. So it's either way, it's a win-win. And now after all of these clever tactics to get this person watching, we go into a very important section, which is the relevant value section, okay? In here, we have about 1 minute to 2 minutes to present a very valuable point for our prospect. And this ideally is one piece of value that is belief shifting and feels like it could be implemented right away. See, you, for example, must have watched some kind of YouTube video. Maybe it is this one, right? Where you were like, well, this is fucking good value and I want to implement all of these things or at least one of these things right after. Like, I just want to start doing this now. And that's exactly the feeling that you want to give. You don't want to like share like crazy long stuff with them. You want to just take a minute or two, show them some of your expertise, show them a piece of value that's like genuinely usable for them. So I'll give you an example. Say that you're reaching out to a coach. Act like you're a prospect. See how they set you or try to set you into an appointment. Screenshot all the chats, put it into a Miro, and walk them through exactly every single thing they did wrong in the appointment setting process. Okay, what other opener would you use? What other follow-ups would you use? And how can you show that those perform better based on data? That's very valuable. I can change my appointment setting sequence right after that. Or say you're offering some kind of content services. In that case, you'll want to go through and actually like show them based on data some really good content ideas they can implement right now. Really good ideas how to improve their landing pages, their VSL, their ads, like new ad ideas that work really well right now. Like these type of things that when somebody sees, they get inspired. They're like, you know what, actually, like, let me try this. Like, this sounds really good. That's the piece of value you guys want to give. And as soon as you give that and you have them like open up, because then they understand, well, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like, he has something that I might want. Then with that feeling, we lead them straight into the very last part, which is the CTA. The goal is to get a response. And the way we do our CTAs is to force them into taking a binary decision. Let me give you an example and show you what I mean by this. When I'm at the end of the Loom video for this Liam guy, I'll say something like this. All right, Liam, this is pretty much all I wanted to share with you, man. I really hope this is valuable. And if it wasn't, man, just shoot me a quick text, send me a PayPal. More than happy to send you $10 so you can buy your next coffee with that. Because I would really feel bad otherwise. But Liam, if you felt like this was kind of interesting or maybe even valuable or spark your curiosity even just a tiny bit, feel free to still respond to me. I'm more than happy to take the next couple of hours after your response to do some more research, do some more digging, and give you 3 really good content ideas that I will help you script out that you can then record and even send the footage back to me and get them fully edited for you. And we'll post them on your Instagram. Only if those perform better than your last couple of pieces of content, then we can talk about potentially me helping you and working together. Sounds like a fair deal, my man? Let's do it. Shoot me a text, either way, buy your coffee, or do that deep dive and send you those ideas that we can record. So literally, there is no downside in responding. Either they get a coffee, which, yeah, you can send them $5 or $10, or which then actually might have them come back afterwards. That actually happened. Or you get a response because they're interested. And you just give them such a no-brainer offer. Like, who would not want to get all of this for free? And when you know they want that for free, I mean, you can do it for free. You might not do it. The main thing is you're going to get a response. And from that response, you will know that they're interested. And from there, you can book a call and sell them. Keep in mind that all of this only works if step 1 is done properly. Because bad leads will still ignore you even after making the most perfect loom ever. But good leads And this type of a pattern breaking loom is raining replies. Seriously. Now here's the interesting part. Most replies don't come from the first loom that we send. They come from the follow-ups. Okay. And in step 3, I'll show you the exact follow-up sequence as well as the opener, like the actual copy that we're using to double our reply rates on average. So let's get into that. Now here's the truth, right? Most looms fail for one reason. They could be really good, but they just never get watched. So step 3 isn't just about better copy, but also about tactics to make somebody not seeing your loom statistically unlikely. Because one DM is pretty easy to ignore. One email is kind of just buried in the inbox, but repeated exposure across the places that someone already spends time in, that is what gets replies. I'll explain what this actually means in a second. But I get these type of questions all the time. Like, do we send the looms up front? What platform do we send it on? What copy do we use? How many follow-ups do we send? So here's a full breakdown that answers all of that. The first thing you need to do is to categorize your leads. So remember how we scraped the leads in step 1? The first thing we got to do to be able to send them out is to categorize these into A, perfect fit leads, and B, good fit leads. With the perfect fit leads, we're going to send a loom up front. And with the medium to good fit leads, we're going to first send a text message and then a loom after. Because after sending and monitoring the performance of hundreds of thousands of messages, looms sent up front book 10 to 5 times more calls than just messages. And by doing both, we raise our average call book rate while still being able to hit volume. Because you really can't do more than about 15 looms per day consistently, because that already will take an hour or 2. So I'll break down exactly how to send the loom up front, as well as a text message first and the copies behind that. Let's start with the upfront loom first. Now, when we send the loom up front, there's one problem we have to solve. If they don't see it, the loom is absolutely useless. So instead of relying on one platform, we simply start where the prospect is most active and create a multi-channel follow-up structure like this one. And yes, this looks complex, multiple platforms, timing, sequences, follow-ups, but in reality, it's pretty simple. So first we find out where our leads are most active. So for example, say that is in the emails. In that case, we first send an email opener like this one, for example. By the way, this email copy here is the exact copy that we've used, and it absolutely crushes. It gets such good responses. I'll break down why it works so well, because first we have the subject line, PayPal, Imran sent you $100. So this is something that you're going to open up, because you're going to be like, who the hell sent me $100? Is this really a message from PayPal? Like, you just want to be sure. You just click on it to actually check it out. And then the email starts with, yo John, sorry, I didn't send you $100, only because I found something that's even better. So it immediately picks up on the subject line and breaks the pattern. And also it's a little funny, but the next line explains what we're doing and why we're even sending this. Because that's saying, I was just stalking your Instagram in a totally professional way, and saw a tiny gap in your funnel that's probably costing you 3 to 5 calls a week. So now they know why we're reaching out, okay, because of the funnel. So now what we're doing is we're choosing our words very carefully, because we're saying, for example, tear down instead of a quick 2-minute video, because tear down implies that there's a lot that's going to be shown in there, that it's more in-depth. And we also said it only takes 57 seconds on 2x, lowering the commitment to watch this video by a lot. Because then like, all right, well, with 57 seconds, I can probably, take a click on it real quick. And then we embed this loom in here as a thumbnail, so you can just click on it and it opens up right away. And right after that, we say, look, if it's mid, reply will shut the fuck up, and I'll actually send you the $100. Again, picking up on the subject line and making that a theme in this email and making more and more jokes around that. So they actually chuckle, because like if you read this, you're like, this is good copy. And you're also challenging them to watch this or actually send the $100, which then makes them even more intrigued. And the last line says, P.S. one of your fellow fitness coaches added $12,000 a month with this exact play last month. You probably follow him. Okay, and when you say this, especially that you probably follow him, gets them even more curious. And they're like, all right, so who is this person? Okay, like that. Do I really know them or not? And then they just click on this video because this copy is so intriguing. And after we send the email opener, we send a whole bunch of follow-ups. So I'll show you what type of follow-ups are working really well for us right now. It is creative AI follow-ups. Okay, so for example here, the first follow-up I sent to this email is something like this. Yo John, I sent you a video which might change your life. If you watch it and think it's trash, reply will shut the fuck up. The $100 are still on the line. And then it's like a AI generated image with like $100 in my hand. And we still have like the watermark even on here. It's just a little funny, okay? It's just like, all right, I usually don't get, there's just like breaking a pattern, right? They don't really get like follow-ups like this. Usually it's just like circling back, I'm checking in, whatever. The next follow-up then is a case study follow-up, which I found works really well. So we say something like, yo, John, I figured I'd back up the $100, bet with some receipts. Remember that loom I sent you about fixing a few leaks in your IG to call funnel? Here's what happened when another coach let me do the same thing. We plugged the exact tweaks I showed in the loom. He went from 3 to 4 calls a week to 12 plus, and we added an extra $12,000 a month cash within 6 weeks. No new followers, no ads, no crazy launch, just fixing existing leaks. Watch the breakdown of what we did so you can copy it yourself. So just getting them intrigued on like actually checking this video out mainly. And obviously if you check this out, then it's going to be like a case study and they're going to be nurtured. And then the next follow up from there, usually I like to do a meme follow up, which is like actually just funny. Like this one, for example, come on, John, don't do me wrong. And it's like me when you watch the loan and ask me for $100. And this is obviously just funny. Okay, like because you keep on using the same like theme, right? And it's kind of original. And guys, when somebody like goes through this stuff, especially like the next follow-up, you just continue from there now with like value and funny follow-ups. That's like the two best ones that work. Some more case studies or more funny ones, like this one, for example, where it's like, just raise the stakes, John. Yes, this might be AI lol, and it's just like a clearly AI generated image with like a whole bunch of money in my hand, like goes through the bag, whatever, some weird AI shit. It's just funny, okay? Like it is actually just pattern trap. Like most people are not this creative. And when somebody sees this, what happens is they understand that you're a good marketer. Because if your emails, if your outreach, if your messages are already this good, it literally gives you authority through your outreach. Because then they're like, well, if this guy is such a good marketer, he probably does know something about solving my problems as well. So let me chat to him. And that's why a really, really high quality leads get back to you when you reach out to them like this. And so this is like the email opener and follow-ups. And basically all we do is we figure out, okay, what are the 1 or 2 other platforms that our leads are most active on? So say, for example, is Instagram. In that case, we just find their ID and also start sending them an opener there. So for example, something like this, basically a shorter version of the email saying, I'll send you $100 for watching this. Takes 57 seconds to watch on 2x. Might be the fastest money you've made. And there's a loom link. And then the follow-ups are kind of the same. You know, the money's still on the line with this picture and you can continue like that. And if the leads are also like active on the phones, so if you have their phone number, then you also want to, you know, call them up. And then after that, send them SMS follow-ups and give them calls until they actually pick up or until they convert. And you can also do the same thing on WhatsApp. You can do it on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on all of these platforms. It's just about figuring out where your clients are most active on. You don't have to do all of these at once. It's just about figuring out where your clients are most active on and then picking 2 to 3 platforms to actually give them a good sequence on. And we usually get about 30 to 50% of the prospects to like watch the video and check it out, which might not sound like a lot, but it books a lot of calls. And I'll show you in a second. But first we have to talk about the generic outreach. So not every lead deserves all of this and a personalized loom up front. So for the medium fit leads that are, you know, good leads, but they're not like your dream clients, we use a short text message first. By responding to our initial message, they then earn the right to receive a personalized loom. Because the moment someone replies, loom view rates massively go up. And for the strategy, the most important part is the opener. See, our opener is not supposed to sell. It's supposed to get high reply rates. And high reply rates are at least between 15 to 25%. And after testing hundreds of variations, we've learned that the best openers have a couple of things in common. They all feel very human. They're short. They're very low pressure. There is no marketing buzzwords in that. They're very easy to reply to. They don't try to sell and they have no commitment. Like prospects are making no commitments by responding to your message. Because a lot of people ask for too much commitment in the first message. Like here's an opener, for example, that got us an average of 15 to 25% reply rate. It's basically just saying, hey name, like hey Gloria, strike me as someone that, and then insert the need in your offer. Like for example, building out a sales team. And then we ended on ... And this is like just low pressure. And then the response that you get is something like this. Yes, sir. Let me know if you can connect me. Looking for female setters. For sure. And then you just have a conversation from there. But notice how in this message, there is no direct pitch. There's no pressure. It's very easy to reply to because it also ends on ... and not a question mark. Meaning you don't demand an answer. You just get them curious enough for them to want to answer. And once they reply, we send them a loom. So we send the text, they reply, we send loom, and now we put the call as they get intrigued enough. Now this is just an example copy and we send thousands of messages every single week. And so we usually always know like what are the best openers right now as per niche. Obviously this is just an example and the exact performance of copies changes all the time. We always send thousands of messages every single week. So we kind of know what always performs at any given time, but obviously this is a YouTube video. So I won't be able to update you on this, unless you message me on Instagram. I'm happy to like share insights on this whenever. But what I want you to do is I want you to always send about 100 of these messages per day. Okay, 100 outreach messages a day, whatever platform that is on, that are generic, okay? And I want you to split that into 5 openers every single week. So every single week you send 5 different ones, 20 per day of each. So you have slight variations or just different copies, and you see what the reply rates are. So after every week on the Sunday, you look at the data and you see what kind of reply rate these openers got. Some of them will get 3%, some will get 7%, some will get 4%. And any openers that are at or around 15% are pretty good. You want to mark them. And any openers that are above 20%, they are really good. And what you want to do once you test this, and on a weekly basis you get more data, you want to do more variations of the ones that already perform well. So for example, say this opener number 4 was this one, because this one performed really well for us. So now we want to test different variations. We want to test one with a question mark. We want to test one on a single line. We want to test one with slightly different wording. So we can say, strike me as someone that wants, and we replace that with strike me as someone that needs to have a Savage Woman sales team. And then we then do another week of actually testing that out. And just by doing that every single week, that's how you go on a crazy level where you have like really, really good openers every single week. And that's what we're doing. We're just doing it obviously with thousands of messages. So we're doing it at a bigger scale, but you can do this on a smaller scale and understand like what is getting the best replies right now. Just make sure that your openers always follow these guidelines. Now, everything that I've explained so far only works if you track it properly, because with data, we can turn all of this into a very predictable system. And we track the numbers by going back into our loom tracking sheet, because here are all the leads, remember. And now whenever we reach out to a lead, whether that's on email, Instagram, WhatsApp, whatever platform it is, we tick this box. So you send them a message. So we tick one of these boxes, if not all, and we send an outreach over all 3 other platforms. And then once they've seen it, we click this box. So for example, this lead then has seen the loom. And then once they've replied, we click the box again. And we just check in every single day, or your VA checks in every single day and sees which lead got reached out to. Did they view the loom? Did they reply? Did they book on a call? Did they close? And you want to just tick all of these boxes. And if you do this very simple task, what will happen is this sheet will automatically populate. It will start tracking everything and will give you yearly and monthly KPI totals. It will show you the progressions of all of your data, and it will even give you KPI projections on the right side. So for example, with the current KPIs that are in this sheet, we can then enter a target revenue. Say we want to add $15,000 a month in recurring revenue, and say our average retainer is $2,000 a month. Then it will tell us, okay, with our current KPIs projected, we need to send 283 looms, get 122 views, 45 conversations, 16 calls booked. Now, obviously, these numbers will change based on your KPIs. And then at the bottom, you can choose in which time frame you want to add $15,000 a month to your business. So, for example, we say within 4 weeks. In that case, we need to send about 10 looms per day on average. And this is exactly how we immediately understand what's broken and what needs fixing. Because this entire system really just comes down to 4 numbers. First of all, obviously, our inputs are how many looms do we send? But then after that, like how many of them are actually getting seen? Are these looms are getting replies? Are they booking calls? And are we closing? Those are the only 4 things you need to know. And if any of these break, you don't have to guess. You just fix that specific step because you tracked all your numbers. So for example, if you send a bunch of looms but they don't get a lot of views, so your view rate is low, then you need to check your deliverability and the lead quality. You also want to check stuff like your copy. Maybe people decide not to click on it. So is the loom actually delivering? Is it landing in spam? Is it landing in a hidden request? Is the lead quality actually good that you're sending out to all these dead leads that are inactive? You can also check stuff like your copy, like is it actually good? Do people really want to click on it? And a whole bunch of stuff. And by fixing these, your view rate will go up. Then if you have low response rate, so people are viewing the loom, but they decide not to respond, then you have to check your loom itself. So is the structure good? Is the CTA good? Is it actually valuable? Is it a good video, really? Or is it just a bad one that people don't want to reply to? Then if the book rates are low, so people are actually responding, but after they respond, there's not a lot of appointments being booked, then we have to look at the booking process. So where do our conversations break? Do we provide enough value in those conversations? Do we do stupid shit like dropping the price in the chat or anything like that? If our close rate is low, meaning we get a bunch of appointments but we don't close clients, then obviously it's a sales issue. And then you need to become top closer like me. And see, tracking these data points with the sheet and tweaking your process is a difference between people who send messages and people who actually book meetings. Also, there's a way more in-depth version of these KPIs broken down in a video that's like an hour long, explaining exactly how to get like the best KPIs possible. And I'll share this with you at the end of the video as well. So at the end of the day, once you do all of this, your KPIs should look somewhat like this. And by the way, these are actual KPIs from people I've helped with this, like my actual clients. You can see, for example, with this person, we sent 119 looms. We got 37 views, 25 replies or conversations, 6 calls booked, and 2 of them were closed at an average price of $4,900. And that's roughly a 5% callback rate. So 119 messages turn to 6 calls, which is about 5% of total people booking in. And you can see here are KPIs, the loom to view rate, view to convo to call to clients. And as long as all of these are around or above 25%, this is very scalable. And you can sign up a whole bunch of clients. And then here's a generic outreach. So here you can see we first sent 169 messages, so not looms, but actual messages. Then we got 43 replies, which is why we sent 43 looms as soon as people replied. Then we got 14 views on those looms. We got 9 replies, 4 conversations, 2 calls booked, and 1 closed, which was a 6K PIF. So with this one, we have about a 1% callback rate. So from 169 messages, we got 2 people booked in. So if you combine these and you send about 15 looms and 100 cold DMs per day, you will book around 1 to 2 calls per day on average. So step 1 gives you better leads. Step 2 gives you looms that actually get watched. Step 3 makes sure that those things are actually getting seen. And step 4 makes sure that the entire system improves over time and becomes a predictable machine. Now look, I know this was a lot. There was a lot of value, a lot to take in, but this works really, really, really well. And I know you're probably wondering, okay, where do I get started with all of this? And I got you. Because I put together a Notion page with the most important resources, including training videos. So you can copy all of the tracking sheets I've shown you, including guides on how to set it up. And you can also get the in-depth KPI breakdown so you understand how to improve all of this stuff over time. And this will massively help you out. All you have to do is just click on the first link in the description. That's my Instagram. And then message me on Instagram saying something like, hey bro, can I get the care package please? I'll know exactly what it's about and I'll send this over to you. I got you. The reason why I want you to message me for this is because I don't want everybody to have this. And I know that messaging me will add a bit of friction so that a couple less people will have this, so that this will perform even better for the people that do get it. Because you will stand out, and really not a lot of people are doing this stuff. Like really not. This works really well. But hope this is valuable. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.